What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we're going to be going over the charts. We're going to talk about a little bit about the long term for Bitcoin, but definitely stick around because in the middle, we're going to be going over the 4-hour charts that we've been looking at for over a week now and see where we could be headed. Those are the most important charts, but we are going to kind of show you how I track the market from the macro on down to the smaller. So before we begin, if you don't mind, scroll down, smash that thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this video. That helps the YouTube algorithm. The more likes this gets, the more YouTube will push the video out. So I do appreciate it if you guys would do that. And let's take a look. Also, subscribe if you haven't already, if you want daily, weekly updates. So looking at the pre-markets, Dow futures is up 395. Or I'm sorry, down 395. S&P down 44. NASDAQ down 177. Looking pretty bad. We're going to be taking a look at Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP towards the end also, so make sure you stick around for that. And at the very end, we're going to be looking at some charts that show what bubbles usually do, how they end up, and I'm going to show you some other similar bubbles other than the Amazon bubble I've been showing you guys. So as you can see, we got a bounce again off our 30,700 point range around the on the Dow last week. So we've been watching this area very closely. We could range around in here for a while, but once we break down below this low again, my next target's around 25.8. And as you guys know, we could be looking at something like this. Over here is the Great Depression. Could we see something like that? That is very possible. That's something I want to make people aware of. There's no guarantees on it, but it is playing out almost identical with the structure of the market. As you guys know, I like to follow the structures. Now looking at the DXY. So when we broke out of this last week, we had a measured move target of this right here for the break. So that's our first target around that 106, 106.6. Then we do have a higher target. If we take from the break of this trend here all the way up to the top, we bring that up there and that gets us to that 108. So look for a rejection around the 106. If it doesn't reject, it does get up here, maintain support. The next target's 108. As you guys know, my long term on the monthly, which would line up with the macro bear market in all other assets. This monthly right here from this high back in 1986 all the way down. See this big rising or falling wedge? If we go to the break of that, that gets it back up to those ranges again, which is possible if we are in that major bear market. But again, we like to track the market, so when things change, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, this is how I'm looking at it. I've been showing this since December 2nd. You can go onto my YouTube channel and watch that day I posted the video talking about this. This is the .com scam washout. So during this time, Amazon had to wash out all, well, not just Amazon, the whole .com industry washed out a lot of scams here. And I had said this was playing out the same way. And we have a lot of scams to wash out of crypto. What's happening right now? A lot of scams are getting washed out, a lot of insolvency, things like that. So just pay attention. This could be what we're seeing. If so, as you guys know, my target's around 3,700 to 7,000 sometime in the middle or end of 2023. I'm still looking at it that way. I will let you guys know if my opinion changes on that, but that's still what I'm looking for. And everybody says you're calling Bitcoin going to zero. I am not calling Bitcoin going to zero. As a matter of fact, this would be very healthy for Bitcoin to get rid of all the scams. What happened to Amazon and the .com after that, you can see here. But what I want to point out is it took approximately 10 years before it broke that all-time high. So it's not like you're going to miss a huge bounce if this does play out and it's just going to go straight to 100,000. This could take a very long time. As you guys know, I've talked about this being since Bitcoin's first introduction 2009 till 2021, I think could have been one big bull market. And I'll show you what I mean right here. 5 count Elliott wave structure, one big bull market. This would actually be the first bear market, and it could last several years. I've been talking about this for a long time. We'll see how it plays out. If anything changes, I'll let you know on that. And here are my Fibonacci channels that we've drawn in here. There is a chance we get down to the 17 and get another bounce up before continuing down, in my opinion. I'll let you know where that invalidates also when we get into the 4 hours. But if you look, if we were to come down and retest this bottom again, this fib channel right here would be around the 11.9, 11.5, 12,000, somewhere in there, depending on how long it would take. This is the weekly chart to get down to this level. And I've talked about it before. We'll probably get a bounce in there, get everyone bullish again, come back down to retest, and then we come down to our lower lows in 2023. I do still think that is a very good possibility. All right, on our weekly chart, we knew we were bearish when we got the sell signal here. 21, 13, and 8 EMA crossed the 55. That was a sell signal. Now our weekly resistance right now is around 26.5. Could we get there? Possible. I don't think we'll quite be heading there yet, but as you can see, we are getting a bounce off of the weekly trend line on the RSI here, which doesn't mean nothing. We can come back down below it and still close above it. So something to be aware of. Let's look at the monthly. And so the monthly, I've been showing you guys this for a very long time. Also higher highs in the price action, lower highs in your RSI, bearish divergence. So monthly has plenty of room to go down. Now, I know a lot of people are stuck on watching the weekly. Bitcoin is a lot more mature now. Now we have to start looking at bigger time frames because it's been around a lot longer. Now, where's the resistance here? Same, around the 24.5. And you guys know on my daily chart, that is a major resistance area. Let's take a look at, this is the daily where we tracked this whole market. We were expecting this ABC, and I told you we would get a bounce back in June. Everybody would start calling for 100,000 again. It would be a huge bull trap, and that's exactly what happened. Then when we broke this area, we got this target here, the target of the rising broadening wedge. That was 24. We made that target way back here in November of 21, and it obviously it took time. This is a daily. Took time to get there. I said once that broke, our next major spot would be down here. And we'll look at the 4 hour we were tracking on too. But looking at this as a big bear flag from the break of the trend gets us down to around that 68. There's lots of confluence on these areas in these charts, guys. So we also, on our 4 hour over here, we had our target of 17.7. We made that target in June, right around June 8th. The beginning of June, and we hit it about 10 days later perfectly to the T. Now, I had said if we bounce around in here, we still have that major resistance at 24, which the 24 was just our target, which we also had marked from right here. Once we broke here, that took about May 5th to June 15th, so a little over a month to hit. Again, on these bigger time frames, these targets take a while, but they do usually hit. I was the only one calling for 17.7 for that bounce there, which we got exactly where we were calling it. Everybody else was calling for either lower or, you know, a bounce at 20. So anyways, we did get that. Now, I had said once we break below this, again, that gets us to that 68 level. Does that mean we go straight to it? Absolutely not. We'll probably get a bounce around that 12 if we break here. And again, I'm going to tell you what I think will happen if we get a bounce at 17.5. If we don't, we're going to get into those charts right now. If you guys are interested in trading, I definitely suggest checking out Prime XBT. Link down below, by far my favorite exchange. You can trade Forex, gold, silver, oil, S&P, Dow Jones, everything all from one exchange. Use my promo code SAVVY50. You get up to a $7,000 bonus. SAVVY25 will get you 25% off your fees. There are tutorials on my YouTube page. Definitely check them out. So this is what we've been watching now. We've been talking about this being a possible descending triangle, right? That's if we get our bounce down here at this 17.5. We drew this in last week. It does seem to be playing out. Now this gets invalidated if we come up and break this top trend line. Let's take a look at where that would be. That would invalidate this, and then we would probably be looking for that possibly as high as 24.5 range. But as long as this holds, I see us coming down to retest this again. If it holds, then expect a bounce back up to this area, maybe around the 20,000 again after 17.5. Just another ABC and then another ABC down. And once this 17.5 breaks, our target there. Now remember, I'm going to show you a chart after this if 17.5 doesn't hold on that first try right here. But that gets us down to about the 11.8 range, right? And then if we look at that whole thing as a bear flag, looking at it from the break of the trend down to the bottom of the triangle and over, boom, that gets you around to 56. But again, we're going to see what happens here. If we get this bounce, we may get a major bounce. As long as we bounce around in here for the next few weeks before breaking 17.5, then we'd be looking at about 12,000 for the bounce, which also lines up with that long-term macro that I showed you in the beginning of the video. But as you can see here, we're making higher highs in the RSI, lower highs in the price action. That is hidden bearish divergence. Hidden divergence is a continuation of the trend. The trend is down. Now, this is the other chart I'm talking about. What if this is just a bear flag? The bottom of this flag would be around 18.9. So if that was the case, our first target there would be around that 12.9. Somewhere in that range, 12 to 13,000. So that would probably be pretty quick within a few days if that was to happen. But remember, we can get that bounce off 17.5 and that makes this more likely. But if 17.5 doesn't hold, I'll be looking for this as my first target. Target after that would simply be from the break of this trend, looking at this as a bull flag or a bear flag, bringing down the flag pull would get us down to, again, that 6,800 range. As you can see right here on the RSI, if the RSI closes below this trend line, then it's a good possibility we're headed down towards that 12.9s. A 4-hour close below. I would wait for maybe a couple 4-hour closes below this just to verify that it is below this trend line. Once below this trend line, then we start looking for the 12.9. Again, 17.5 is very important here. If we lose that, I'm looking for 12 to 13,000. Ethereum, this chart's 7 months old. As you can see, still looking for around that 680 on Ethereum. If we are in a longer term bear market, I see Ethereum going much, much lower. Litecoin, still looking for our target this month. Also 7 months old. Target's been 24, still looking for that. If we're in the longer term bear market, could go much, much lower. XRP, we hit our first bounce range, and once we break this, my next range for XRP is 17. Again, we're in a long-term bear market, could go much, much lower. Gold, this chart's actually about a year old. Still have our target down here around 1561. It said once we broke down out of this, started open and closing dailies, anytime gold is below here, bearish for Bitcoin. And this chart also about a year old. We finally broke below our 20. My next stop for silver is 15.5. Much, much lower if we are in a long-term bear market. Now, this is what I was talking about. Let's look at this chart real quick. This is Nintendo in the Bitcoin bubble, or the Bitcoin bubble, in the video game bubble, right? So you can see what happened. Pretty similar. I mean, you didn't have the double top here, but I'm going to show you another one after this that did. But anyways, when these bubbles pop, you usually get a very big drop. This one was about 90%. So even if, like I said, my target for Bitcoin is between 3,000 and 7,000. But if we went 90% here, it would be around 6,300. If we go the full 95% is around 3,700. But if you look at what happened to it afterwards, we're still not even to the top of that. That was back in 07. Yeah, back in 07. So it's almost been over 10 years and we still have not reached that all-time high. Let's take a look at Sony real quick. Sony, so the same thing here on Sony. Let's go back over here. This was Sony's bubble back here, back in the Sony and Samsung, all those competing. And if we take a look at what happened here, that was also almost 90% correction, and that took from 2000 to to 03. So 3 years before the bottom. But again, same thing. Long bear market. Did we break? We still haven't broke that high. So just to show you guys, the bottom isn't just a V-shaped recovery, and these are very successful companies. But anyways, just to show you the bubble. This is how bubbles pop, and you have the same thing over here. This one was a little different time frame, but you had your first high, then your second, and then your huge drop down. Remember, I'd said every time you know, you get a huge drop in these bear markets, everybody gets all paranoid, wishes they would have sold up here, and then when it bounces back, then they start getting excited again. That was it. That was the bottom. And then boom, it drops again. Then you wish you would have sold up here. And then it bounces. And then again, your emotions take over. And that was it. It's the bottom. Everything's good. And then boom, you drop even lower over and over again, just like back here in the .com bubble. So be cautious. Be careful. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smash that thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.